from the Hudson Media Group studio. This is Talking Politics, and I am New Jersey's premier and now 7-time award-winning journalist, Top 100 Latino via the Latino Spirit online magazine for 2020, 2021, and now in 2022, as well as the Garden State's most beloved and factually accurate political commentator. Yes, it's me, Fernando Uribe. Hoping you're all doing well, ladies and gentlemen. Happy November. Hopefully Halloween was pleasant for you. Certainly, as we are filming today, it is indeed Election Day. And hopefully in a couple of days, we'll be looking at a red House, a red Senate, and hopefully multiple red gubernatorial seats that were also won on Election Day. But I got a message for everybody at home, not just because it's Election Day, but moving forward for 2024. And that's what I'm thinking about right now. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, Election Day is always a sort of a turning point in the month of November. There's a lot of holidays. We celebrate Veterans Day accordingly. And in just a couple of weeks, we'll get to celebrate Thanksgiving. After the last 2.5 years we've had due to COVID-19, guess what? If we're able to celebrate it with family and those that are still around, that's always a blessing. But you know, something that really came to my mind leading up to Election Day, and I talked about it on other platforms in which programs that I host throughout the Garden State. And as I told many of my viewers over the weekend, and I'll continue telling you this well into 2023, for all the legislative races in the state of New Jersey, and of course in 2024, when House seats, Senate seats, and ultimately the presidency will be on the line once again, I have a very simple message for anyone at home. And I know that many on the left, especially in the liberal media here in New Jersey, do New Jerseyans an immense disservice. I talk about it regularly, not just on this show, but also on Real Talk with Fernando Uribe via Jersey First TV. And it's very simple. It seems like those in the liberal media, both nationally and here in New Jersey, focus on arguably the most nonsensical talking points you can imagine. It's not about pronouns, ladies and gentlemen. It's not about acquiescing to the alphabet mob, because those are things I don't really care about. I don't care about acquiescing to 1% of the population that, quite frankly, is comprised here in the United States, approaching 380 million people. Okay, I don't care about bathrooms. I don't care about virtue signaling or a lot of the social justice nonsense that we get to hear, all the woke stupidity that we're subjected to. Quite frankly, folks, I care about everyday issues. I care about kitchen table issues that we talk about, and even living room issues as well, and even front porch issues, because these are things we're talking about with family, with friends, with colleagues, and so on and so forth. But as I said it over the weekend, I'll keep saying it well into 2023, and of course, well into 2024. Before you go vote, folks, just do something very simple. Okay, Dr. Uribe here is going to give you a homework assignment, and quite frankly, I don't think it's too difficult to complete. Before you go vote, ladies and gentlemen, always remember, go grocery shopping, whether you do it online or whether you do it in person. Check out food prices. Check out what it's costing you to feed not just yourself, but perhaps a family of 2, 3, 4, or more. Okay, fill up your gas tanks. All right. By the way, gas is still around $4 here in northern New Jersey. Okay? As a matter of fact, pay your bills, whether it's the end of the month or the beginning of the month. Maybe there's some bills that are outstanding. You know what? Take care of them. And then check out your 401k. When you do all of that, ladies and gentlemen, then go vote. And I promise you that there is nothing on the left. There is nothing that mainstream, crazy left Democrats can offer you. And we see it all the time. At the national level, we see it with Nancy Pelosi, right? We're still waiting for, I don't know, body cam footage on what happened with her husband, because that seems to be readily available and accessible for most crimes. Why it's not available now for Paul remains to be seen, and it's usually beyond me. But let's look at also the leadership in both the House and Senate, right? Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer out of New York, who hopefully, after the next couple of days, will no longer be Senate Majority Leader. As much as I'm not a fan of Mitch McConnell, I would much prefer him as opposed to Chucky. Okay? And of course, other sort of mainstream crazy left Democrats. And folks, this is the problem. Because I know a lot of good, civil-minded, rational, policy-oriented Democrats. Okay? Case in point, where I live here in Hudson County, I live in Union City. My mayor is also my state senator. And one thing I've learned about Brian Stack is that he's reasonable, he's amenable and amicable to his constituents, but more importantly, he's willing to listen to reason. And he's a center-left Democrat. He's not one of these extremists that, believes in 35 genders. He's not into all this woke nonsense, into defund the police, and everything we saw going back to 2020 to the present. So when I think about a reasonable, blue-collar, working-class Democrat, I think about Brian Stack. I think about others in New Jersey, okay? But unfortunately, what's happened to him and others in his party, especially here in Hudson County, which again is very blue, but also very blue-collar, is the party's been hijacked by the far left. Whether it's Governor Murphy, right? State Senate President Nicholas Scutari, or Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin here in New Jersey, for example, where they're making it infinitely more difficult for law-abiding New Jerseyans to go and purchase and own a firearm, right, to protect themselves. Nothing against the police, and not to say that police response times are things that I'm criticizing, but guess what? Why make it more difficult for law-abiding citizens to protect themselves, okay? The emperor has armed security around the clock. Senate President Scutari has armed security around the clock. Assembly Speaker Coughlin has armed security around the clock. What makes them better than you and me? Absolutely nothing. But they won't tell you that because they would rather virtue signal. And again, what's good enough for them isn't necessarily good enough for you. And again, folks, that seems to be the common message when it comes to the far left in the Democratic Party, and more so even nationally. But here's the biggest injustice. Here in New Jersey, the liberal media establishment, which consists of NJ Spotlight News with Uncle Dave, right, David Cruz, the Star Ledger, as I like to refer to it, the Star Liar, with Tommy Boy Tom Moran, who's probably the most difficult aspect of his day is to decide whether he wants, almond milk or soy milk with his super duper mega cappuccino macchiato at some local Starbucks in the People's Republic of Montclair. Oh, for example, Sleepy Al, Alan Steinberg with Insider NJ, Maxie Olivier, Max Pizarro, also from Insider NJ, Little J.J. Lassiter, also from Insider NJ, or Bobby Boy, Bobby Hennelly, a devoted socialist, also with Insider NJ. We see it all the time, folks. Even Charles Stile, Chucky himself, who writes for NorthJersey.com and the Bergen Record collectively. But you won't see any of these issues that I just talked about being mentioned by any of the aforementioned members of the Lollipop Guild. They're too busy virtue signaling. They're too busy scaring you and saying that democracy is going to end effectively 24 to 48 hours after this election day when Republicans, hopefully, take over the House and Senate. Yes, authoritarianism will prevail in the United States. No, folks, none of that's going to happen. And here's a history lesson for the aforementioned, because it seems like a lot of them range from different ages, right? Like Sleepy Al is almost 100. Little JJ's in his mid to late 60s. You got Bobby Hennelly in his 80s, maybe. You got Max Pizarro in his late 60s. Who knows? The point is you got Tom Moran in the late 70s, early 80s. Again, I'm not being an ageist here, folks, but maybe they forgot when they took U.S. history. Okay? Because there are safeguards, again, checks and balances, separation of powers that prevents, again, this hysteria that they so write about consistently in their columns about somehow fascism is coming to the United States, or we've been living in fascism. Folks, here's a newsflash. From January 20th, 2017, until January 20th of 2021, during the presidency of the 45th President Donald Trump, never once did he suspend habeas corpus. Never once did he suspend a free press. Never once did he suspend due process. Okay? Never once did he, invoke the War Powers Act and institute martial law throughout the United States. None of that stuff happened, folks. Okay? So the idea that democracy died in those 4 years and now democracy will die further by Republicans winning the House and Senate is absolute, BS. Not just from those on cable news, right? We all know the garbage humans at CNN and MSNBC collectively. That's all they talk about. The end of democracy or the hysteria about January 6th. Okay? Never once do you hear them complaining about 60 Secret Service agents that were injured during the summer of 2020 protecting the White House grounds from BLM rioters trying to break through metal barriers to get to the White House. Never once do you see any of them write as so much as one column. But now they're in hysteria about democracy, about the fact that they must have forgotten that we live in a constitutional republic. Okay? Democracy is not going anywhere, folks. Okay? So regardless of what the liberal media will tell you, regardless of what the liberal media nationally or even here in New Jersey will tell you, it's not going anywhere. I'm the only journalist in New Jersey talking about these issues. I'm the only journalist you can come to trust on these issues. So whether it's on Election Day in 2022 or in 2023, when it comes to, replacing the leadership, okay, in the legislature, the Senate presidency, and the Assembly Speaker collectively, that'd be a good thing for New Jerseyans, okay? Or even in 2024, when hopefully it's only one term for Sleepy Joe. And hopefully Republicans can keep those majorities in the House and Senate collectively, hopefully if they win it this year. But folks, that's the problem once again with the liberal media and the crazy left in the Democratic Party. They're so far removed from reality that they can't see what's perfectly obvious. I'm hoping for a red wave in 2022. I'm hoping for a red wave in 2023. And most certainly, I'm hoping for a red wave in 2024. Remains to be seen. Hopefully there's no chicanery, no cheating, no, votes mysteriously popping up in the middle of the night, et cetera, et cetera. We all know what happens, folks. Okay? But I'm here to tell you the truth. When many in the journalistic community here in New Jersey or even nationally won't do the same. I'm here talking policy. I'm here talking truth. They're over there spewing lies and propaganda. Clearly, we're not the same. And that's what I'm thinking about right now. And now some important news here in the Garden State, and a special thank you to New Jersey 101.5 FM for their report on this story. Only after Republicans made a big deal about crime, of course, Governor Murphy went on to call their attacks racist. It seems like the governor now feels it prudent to address the rash of car thefts going on throughout the Garden State. And here's some information really to sort of unpackage this. So to address the ongoing rise in auto thefts in New Jersey, Governor Phil Murphy announced support for pending legislation to address the problem, and of course unveiled new plans to help stop car thieves in their tracks. What's really interesting, though, folks, is these are ideas the Republicans pitched only the week before, but now the governor is looking to take credit for it. What else is new? Now, the move again comes after increasing frustration and criticism from Republicans, again, because the governor decided to virtue signal like he usually likes to, stoking racial animus by complaining about crime, and that's what Republicans are doing. No, that's not what Republicans do. Republicans are trying to talk about quality of life issues. It's not everything has to be racist, Phil Murphy. Not everything has to be about race or gender or whatever. Things can be, honestly, about quality of life and crime and law and order. For example, State Senator Michael Testa, Republican out of Cumberland County, called Murphy's agenda, quote, mind-boggling pro-criminal. Now, during a news conference at the state police headquarters in Ewing, right near Trenton, early this week, the governor went on to say he will sign a persistent auto theft offender statute into law as soon as it's passed by the legislature. Now, the governor said this will give prosecutors expanded options to seek tougher criminal consequences for repeat car theft offenders. He also indicated support for legislation that would make possession and distribution of certain auto theft tools a crime, and a measure that would require anyone trying to sell a catalytic converter to present paperwork showing that they were the rightful owner of the equipment. But you know what? State Senator Michael Testa said it perfectly once again. It seems that lawlessness is playing out, and we've seen it not just in South Jersey, but elsewhere as a result of the Murphy administration's mind-boggling pro-criminal agenda, which, again, the state senator is correct about. Now, one of the keys about pending legislation is about monitoring offenders. The governor also said his administration will expand investing in enhanced pretrial services to reduce the risk from individuals awaiting trial, including, quote, pretrial monitoring, expanding the use of house arrest paired with location monitoring, and providing additional resources related to substance abuse, mental health, and housing insecurity for defendants who may require such services. He stressed that this will decrease the probability that they will commit another offense. No, Governor Murphy, that's not what's going to happen. As someone who worked in criminal justice for 10 years, being this lenient on criminals isn't going to reduce recidivism. Okay, but again, this is where the emperor and the rest of the crazy left in New Jersey get it wrong when it comes to crime. All right? Murphy also wanted to say he will be directing the Motor Vehicle Commission to explore including all vehicle registration paperwork, quote, a checkbox allowing residents to opt into a program that would, if the car were to be stolen, automatically permit law enforcement access to the vehicle's in-car navigator. He said the idea is to, quote, aid in tracking and retrieving it before it can be shopped or put into a cargo hold for overseas shipment. The governor also said that the MVC is also going to focus on messaging the importance of safety handling key fobs, because while this might seem like simple common sense, the fact is that many car thefts are being made easier to pull off because car owners have simply or accidentally left their key fob in the vehicle itself. I don't understand how that happens, folks. You have to be a special kind of stupid to do that. But again, we can't control stupidity in the state of New Jersey as much as we would like to. Also, he reminded New Jerseyans to keep the doors to their houses locked so thieves just can't walk in. I don't know where the governor thinks he's talking to and why there are people in New Jersey that do that, that's also mind-boggling. To spot the key fob on a hook next to the door, to grab it and take off. Now, Murphy noted that car thefts have shot higher over the past year, but they dropped 14% in September compared to that of September 2021, where car thefts, as a matter of fact, in October, were actually down this year 12%. When asked why car thefts have skyrocketed, the governor said, quote, "It's probably like a lot of other things. Some are related to mental health stresses of coming out of this pandemic, I would think." No, Governor Murphy, you have to stop using the pandemic as an excuse for everything, okay? Number one, you botched the pandemic. We all know this. You didn't handle it as well as the freedom-loving states of Florida and Texas. Again, you want to look at governors who got it right. Look at Greg Abbott in Texas and look at Ron DeSantis in Florida. They got it right, folks. People like Andrew Cuomo, Kathy Hochul, Ned Lamont in Connecticut, and Phil Murphy in New Jersey got it wrong. It's as simple as that. Now, going back to Republican criticism about these measures, and well said by State Senator Michael Otesti, he wanted to say, again, Murphy's soft on crime stance has helped fuel the current wildlife of auto thefts in the state. From opening the doors and letting the convicted criminals out, to tying the hands of the police and prohibiting them from detaining minors with marijuana or alcohol, Trenton has emboldened the bad actors and has handcuffed the good guys. Is it any wonder that towns and local police departments, respectively, are feeling abandoned and powerless? State Senator Otesti is absolutely correct. The governor, once again, is myopic and is short-sighted here. It's not about trying to make things more comfortable for criminals because, folks, it's a lucrative business. Stealing vehicles, chopping them down, selling the parts has become one of the more lucrative businesses in the criminal underworld. But again, it seems like the governor, whether he's off to his villa in Italy or virtue signaling from the governor's mansion, it just seems to me, once again, this is where he's dropping the ball. And Republicans who raise the concern about the quality of life, about an absence of law and order when it comes to these things, what does the governor do? Yes, let's call Republicans racist because they are objecting to practices, not just from the governor's office, but also from the Office of the Attorney General, one of the more useless offices here in the state of New Jersey. I said what I said. Okay, so folks, keep in mind here, we'll see where this legislation goes, but like anything else, if they can F it up in Trenton, certainly, if it's not Phil Murphy, it's State Senator President Nicholas Scutari or Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin. If they can find a way to piss the bed, they'll find a way to do it. Now some local stories for your consideration. Let's go to the Mosquare city of Hoboken, and a special thank you to Ron Zentlinger with the Jersey Journal for his report on this story. It seems like a Hoboken business group is looking to breathe new life into the St. Patrick's Day parade in the city, which has been absent for some years, but it's contingent on residents' approval and on driving a popular annual pub crawl from the city. Now, the Hoboken Business Alliance has created a survey for residents and non-residents alike, asking if they'd like to see a family-friendly version of the first Saturday in March event return after an 11-year hiatus. Now, the city's St. Patrick's Day Parade Committee canceled the 2012 parade after city officials, frustrated by the drunken debauchery that had become an annual event after the parade, attempted to move it to a weekday. In 2011, some 34 people were arrested and nearly 296 citations were issued on parade day, according to officials. There were reports of public urination, sexual assaults, property damage, and more. Now, Leprechaun, as it's come to be known as an annual pub crawl, filled the void and the bad behavior continued, although it has become less rowdy year after year. Now, according to Public Safety Director Ken Ferrante, former police chief in Hoboken, he said, quote, "Pending resident feedback, I think a family-friendly theme parade as well as a way to rid our city of con events is a much better path to a positive day in the city of Hoboken on the first Saturday in March." Now, the group formed by the city to support and promote city businesses has met with city officials about the possibility of the parade returning as a part of a week filled with Irish heritage events. James Runkle, the president of the Business Alliance Board of Trustees, said, quote, "The city has had some discussions with bar owners that they would not participate in Leprechaun. The idea is that that time of year is a little slow. The Business Alliance represents not just the bars and restaurants, but folks that come in to shop and stay here. That's where the family-friendly idea came in, that it's in different parts of the city, not just focused on Washington Street. But before anyone puts their lawn chairs on the parade route just yet, the HBA will weigh the results of the survey, which has a deadline coming up of November the 10th. Runkle said if the residents want it and the bars agree to collectively not participate in Leprechaun, the parade could be back for 2023. it seems the administration is on board as well. Now, Marilyn Bear, a city spokeswoman, said Mayor Bala will look to make an informed decision based on input from the residents of Hoboken and the local business community. Now, the short survey asked if people would be in favor of the parade if there was no additional cost to the taxpayers, and they would be in favor of the parade of the Leprechaun not being part of the day's events. It also asked residents if they normally leave Hoboken on the day that Leprechaun is held. The residents are the lifeblood of our businesses, as he goes on to say, so we want to do anything we can to encourage residents to stay in town and to shop in town. That's also the genesis of the survey, because it's the residents who maybe they leave because they want to avoid the craziness. We want to make sure that residents are comfortable and also on board. Folks, this is where sometimes we can't have nice things, and this is where, once again, Mayor Ravi Bala is short-sighted and myopic. Folks, Leprechaun and SantaCon are two pub crawls. I'm going to say it again, two pub crawls. And I love how Hoboken residents love to bitch and moan about the craziness that is these two bar crawls, okay? It's 2 days out of the year. If you can't find something to do when Leprechaun brings out-of-towners, okay? And mind you, folks, the 2011 mention in this article, I was there for that. I mean, I've been to Leprechaun for years. I've loved going there. I've loved drinking. I've behaved myself. Okay, it's a great opportunity to meet up with old friends, hook up with women, drink, whatever, have a good time. Rock some green, which I normally is my least favorite color, but I can rock it during the pub crawls. All right? Same thing with SantaCon. I don't tend to wear Santa Claus outfits, but I like to wear ugly sweaters during the Santa season. Okay? It's 2 days out of the year, folks. And especially for residents that live in downtown. What did you think was going to happen when you moved to the downtown part of any city? Do you think pub crawls don't happen? Do you think that they don't inject economic life into those businesses, which are the lifeblood of Hoboken? See, this is the thing with Ravi Bala, folks. Ravi Bala thinks that he wants to make Hoboken Paramus. No, it's not going to be Paramus. It never will be, okay? Whether it's Generation Z, millennials, whoever, people move to Hoboken for a lot of reasons. Accessibility to Manhattan, okay? Somewhat affordability. I wouldn't say that. Obviously, it's more affordable in northern Hudson County. But you move to Hoboken to either be near the PATH train, to be near Manhattan, to get to the financial district, whatever it is, shopping, eating. There's great restaurants everywhere, okay? But Leprechaun has become a signature in Hoboken. And year after year, Hoboken PD has done a great job, in addition to other police departments that come and help out, to make sure that it's not an absolute blank show, okay? That it's not a bunch of hot messes and a bunch of, you know, white girl wasted, as they say, in the city of Hoboken. No one's saying that. Okay? They've done a good job. A parade would be nice, but having Leprechaun wouldn't exactly be the end of the world. Don't say it to Ravi Bala and the rest of the myopic people at City Hall because they think that Hoboken is indeed Paramus or Parsippany. It's not. And by the way, folks, those cities happen to have pub crawls too, in addition to Morristown and other municipalities all throughout the Garden State. Maybe Ravi Bala should pay attention to that and stop thinking that, I don't know, he can make downtown more family-friendly and more family-oriented. That's not the purpose of downtown. You want to be more family-friendly? Move uptown, near Sinatra Park, wherever else. You want to live downtown, folks? That's part of, I don't know, the cost of living in that part of the city. So we'll see what happens. I hope residents stand up for Leprechaun. I hope that bar owners stand up for Leprechaun, too, because it's a fun and festive time. Yeah, some people get wasted, some people get a little disorderly, but that has gone down in propensity and frequency year after year. So for all the uptight idiots in Hoboken, leave town for the day. Go shopping somewhere. There's tons of things to do, folks. Believe me, 2 days out of the year won't kill you to bring back a pub crawl that, quite frankly, is very vital to the city of Hoboken. Moving north into North Bergen, I want to thank Dan Aloa from the Hudson County View for his report on this story. Now, this project that broke ground in April of 2019 finally got finished as North Bergen officials cut the ribbon on their long-awaited new $19.5 million recreation center and library, which, quite frankly, will revitalize downtown North Bergen. Now, according to Parking Authority Director Bob Bellesi, he wanted to say, we are a progressive community, and with that comes some challenges. Once such challenges in properties do not present themselves very often, we can move forward. He noted that the property was originally a car dealership and then a furniture store that unfortunately burned to the ground in December of 2016. Basilis noted the township bought the property shortly thereafter. Parking is always a problem with property, and believe me, I know this. This beautiful facility comes with 62 new parking spaces. There's a facility for the future, education, recreation, and all things that come together in one place in downtown North Bergen, once again, according to Department of Public Works Commissioner Frank Garagullo. Now, he went to say during the ribbon cutting, is this a beautiful facility or what? I want to thank the mayor. He made a promise to the downtown community in North Bergen, and now he's bringing it. He was the force behind this, and he made sure it kept moving forward. Parks and Public Property Commissioner Hugh Cabrera also added that during the unveiling. He also wanted to thank former business administrator Chris Pianese and his successor, Janet Castro, for working so hard to make sure that this project finally got completed. It's been a long time coming in the past. We were bringing all the kids uptown for practices and games, and now downtown has their own center, their own library, and their own rec center collectively. They can practice on that beautiful turf field up there, but you guys got to go look at it. It has the best view in town. Besides that, we have a beautiful basketball court here as well. Now, Hudson County Board of Commissioners Chairman Anthony Veneri, also the chair of the Hudson County Democratic Organization, called it, quote, a great historic day that could be credited to the leadership of North Bergen Mayor and State Senator currently in the 32nd Legislative District, which again will change in 2023, Nicholas Sacco. This building is going to be here for every one of your children to enjoy. I'm proud to be a part of this. I'm proud of the county for giving close to $1 million for this facility to become a reality today. I want to thank County Executive Tom DeGees, as well as the county commissioners. I also want to give a shout out to Craig Guy, the Chief of Staff to the County Executive, and soon to be the new County Executive after Tom DeGees steps down. The county has been here every step of the way. Now, North Bergen Library Director Cy Rao, on the opening of the library, quoted the poet Henry David Thoreau, saying, quote, if one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life in which he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. That's a great quote there by Thoreau. There are only 3 towns in the entire nation that house a library and a rec center or a community center together. This happens, in my opinion, because of the progressive leadership, according to Mayor Nicholas Sacco. Some of the funding we had did come from the Green Acre State Funds, our CBDG, our Community Block Development Grant money, as well as other county open space. Folks, it's a great accomplishment for downtown North Bergen and for the residents to enjoy, where again, they probably have to go uptown. Now they get to enjoy it in downtown. And that's our show for this week. To check out all the excellent programming brought to you by the Hudson Media Group, check out their websites, www.hmgtvshows.com, as well as www.livestream.com/hmgtv. Don't forget to go to YouTube and check out the Hudson Media Group page as well. Make sure you like them on Facebook and follow them on Instagram and Twitter. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. It's the same handle, folks, at the Fernando Zone. And also check me out on Facebook via Fernando Uribe, and also Talking Politics with Fernando Uribe as well. And always forget, ladies and gentlemen, if it's unbiased, unfiltered, and unafraid, it's always Talking Politics right here with the Hudson Media Group. I am New Jersey's premier and now 7-time award-winning journalist, Top 100 Latino via the Latino Spirit online magazine, and certainly the Garden State's most beloved and factually accurate political commentator, Fernando Uribe, saying so long, ladies and gentlemen, and as always, thank you so much for watching.